right, join with me today is Philosopher. We're going to talk about the 2021 second half preview. And a lot of people are asking, really, is Marvel Strike Force dying? Have you heard this question?
A lot. A lot of top players have left the game. Lots of prominent folks in the community have left the game. I think everybody should be asking that question if they're not already.
Yeah. And straight up, the game is in a slump. Numbers are bad on my end, and I'm sure they're bad on their end. Would you agree?
100%. If you look at the number of people on Twitch or in YouTube, it's going down.
Yeah, because we have a way of looking up the aggregate amount of people watching Twitch streams. I can go and add up the amount of total views on YouTube, and the numbers are down 30%, let's say, easily, maybe higher, depending on what month you compare it to. So the question is this: did this 2021 second half preview save the game, hurt the game, push people out? What do you think? What's your take on this so far?
Wow, I will say this: it's not going to solve the underlying. It doesn't solve the underlying problems. I think it's going to help push some people out. I actually have a good friend who told me he went free to play. He used to be a spender, and now he's like, I'm going to wait for this blog post to determine whether I stay in. This is not going to draw anyone in, but it's not bad. I mean, there's a lot of good things in it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Let's talk about the most controversial thing in this, and we're going to talk about one of the issues that I think most people, and it has to do with the teal gear being tied to the Doom raid. What was said is that access to DD5 and to get the new DD5 character, Dormammu, however you say it, is going to be linked to teal gear tier 16, which is going to be they're doing it a different way from orange gear, and how that plays out, we don't know exactly. But the primary way of getting this gear tier 16 teal is going to be different. Now, this is actually, we talked about it a little bit on your video. This is actually favorable to top 10 alliances in some ways, but this might be pretty bad and overwhelming for newer players. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this helps us, you and I specifically as individuals and our alliance mates. I think it hurts 99% of the players in this game. I think this essentially is going to lock out a lot of folks because Doom Raid 2 is probably going to be way harder than difficulty 1. And you know, and I know that difficulty 1 is really, really hard.
It's really
and
hard.
basically,
really hard. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, before we had level 3 blue ISO on all of our characters that are already G15 and have all these red stars, we were, using tons of heals and stuff. So I think this is going to be really bad for the community overall.
So there's a couple things that I think are changing. Is that the progression in the past, and you talked about it a little bit, is that you typically just focused on your arena team and maybe focused on one raid team, and it really didn't matter what the rest of your alliance was doing. Now we're in a very and then pretty much you could get through Dark Dimension 2, 3, 4. The rewards that you got from Dark Dimension 2 kind of launch you into 3 and 4 and so on. And now it's different. It definitely is changing the progression, right? And this idea that you just have to focus on 10 characters has now been destroyed. Now you're probably gonna have to focus on 30 characters, right? I mean, How do you see it?
Yeah, this has been something they've been trying to do for a while. So when I started this game, I made a U7 team, a raid team, and I made an arena team, and they use a lot of the same characters. That carried me through DD2. DD3, you could get by with like 3 characters in Cosmic, 3 characters in Global, 2 or 3 characters in City. You're up to 9 characters, whatever it was. It wasn't that many. And then now you're up to a point where they require 4 characters in Dark Dimension for each section. Then they required for Doom Raid, you needed 5 characters for each section. And they all had to be, you had 5 different sections. You had to build up a skill team, a mystic team, a tech team, etc.
Right.
Now we may need more, I think you've said, we may need some new characters even for Doom Raid 2.
Yeah. So to be clear, to get through Dark Dimension 4, it is basically 16 characters, right? 16 characters to get through Dark Dimension 4. Doom Raid, as it sits now, is 23 characters. And the reason why it's not 25 characters is because Kestrel and Doom have 2 tags. But you pretty much need 23 characters to get through it. Is there any way of getting through it with less than 23 characters?
It's very, very hard.
Very hard.
You want to spend a lot of heals.
Yeah, it's not an easy game mode. And then what we were talking about a little bit is that Doom Raid 2 might be a different 23 characters or a different 20, or maybe more than. I mean, it could be that each, maybe one bio node is beatable by symbiotes, but the next one isn't, and it needs a different team. And because I think one of the big concerns that we've been seeing is like, what is this Secret Avengers team for? And everybody says, well, it's going to be for Doom Raid.
Yeah, I think it will be. I mean, right now you blow through skill with the Secret Avengers plus Kestrel can pick anybody. Ravage or Citra could be the fifth character, and they're going to blow through Doom Raid difficulty 1. The question is, as long as you have good stars on them and gear and ISO and all that, but like difficulty 2, you may need the Secret Avengers. Right now you can get through Doom Raid 1 with all sorts of characters, your Night Nurse or Red Guardian or Zemo, characters you've already invested in. Now you may have to start over at a whole new investment that you may not have purchased, right? That you may, or as a free-to-play player, you may have a 2-star Captain Sam, for example.
Right. And so what's your take on this idea that some of these changes, specifically starting with a Silver Surfer being in the Alliance milestones, and then the green ISO requirements for Doom, and then now Doom Raid 2 destroying casual alliances? What's your take on alliances and things like that, and this big shift?
I've seen that happen. I actually advised help out an alliance that was torn between U7 and Doom, where several members were at a point where they could do the Doom Raid. The rest of the alliance was not. When Silver Surfer shards came, it was a big deal. There was a lot of conflict. Some people left the alliance. They ended up staying together, but I worry now with this DD5. I mean, it's one thing to have, okay, you missed out on one character, some shards for one character, you'll probably wail out on it or get him eventually. They'll have it, he'll be, Silver Surfer will be obtainable some other way eventually. But when it's DD5 and it's like the entire progression in the game, and you need that for the next gear tier, I could see this really hurting alliances. And I've talked to a lot of players who are very concerned about the impact it'll have on them and their alliance.
Yeah, I think alliances are in chaos, and I think that they started with the Silver Surfer, and then it's just compounding. This is the third version where they're basically saying, you almost are forced into a situation where you're gonna, if you're an alliance that is not, where your entire alliance is not aligned with the similar goals and moving forward to the game, you're kind of forced to make the decision to stay or go, right? And I imagine this is very chaotic especially if you have, people that you've developed relationships with over the years in the game, or even real life friends, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think it just also can make a spot too where, you can ultimately get pushed out of your alliance. It's like, okay, well, the alliance is moving to Doom Raids, and if you're not ready, your roster's not ready, you have to lose your friendships. I think ultimately that's bad for the game. You were talking about the numbers being down.
Yeah.
That can be something on alliance is what keeps you in the game. Your group of friends, like it can potentially be a way of driving people away.
I think alliance. I mean, there's the number of people that told me that the main reason why they play the game so long is that they love their alliance mates, and right, and that and the community is what's kept them in, and this is basically it's not just here specifically, but it started, I think, with the Silver Surfer milestones, and this is the third version where basically Boundless has said you need to be in a better alliance, you need to move on or whatever it is, but this has created problems where if there's 20 people in your alliance are all go, and 4 people aren't, then those people are getting kicked. And that was a decision that nobody had to make 6 months ago. It just wasn't. Yeah. Nobody had to make this decision now because they've incentivized the importance of being in a single alliance group working towards the same goal. And they're doubling down here again with the teal gear and Doom Raid 2. Now, we talked about some of these issues down here a little bit further down. Alliance War, they're going to run another playtest. So they basically just stalled us on this. We don't know what's going to happen with Alliance War. You were involved with the first playtest. I'm sure there's going to be a second one, and we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't run with what they had in the first iteration. I'm glad they're taking another look at it.
We talked about this at length on your channel. Real-time arena is pretty much a dumpster fire, in my opinion. I'm not a fan of this game mode. And I'm so indifferent to this game mode that this might be a positive change. It's that bad. But initially I read this and I was like, oh, this is bad. I don't know what's your take on this. I was like, oh, this can't be good.
Yeah, look, I mean, RTA is so bad that really the number one thing that they could do is, unless they totally rework it, They should just make it so we have to do a lot less of it. I mean, why not just give me like 5 matches a week that I have to do that I plan for? I'd love to do 5 drafts against somebody and just have it be that, as opposed to have it
Yeah.
be something I'm doing constantly. Basically, I do this while I'm like watching basketball. I'm watching an NBA game and I'm just pressing auto and clicking buttons
Oh,
while
you
the game's
you,
on.
you want to know when I'm doing RTA? When I'm playing Marvel
What?
Future Revolution, I'm playing RTA on the side. I play both games simultaneously. Oh my god! I know
Wow.
there's a lot of people out there doing the same thing. By the way, it's like, yeah, I get my RTA done when I'm playing Marvel Future Revolution. Anyways,
Wow.
oh my goodness, very different game. By the way, I don't know that it's going to have the same appeal that this game has to the players here. Anyways, let's move on. Economy, this is great. Now, quality of life improvement is almost. I think there's a large number of people that say too little, too late. Save squads. Yeah, why wasn't this in 2018? This is great though, right?
Yeah, what are you going to complain about?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, right?
Uh,
No brainer.
Now this was a little bit of confusion. We got some clarification on how this is going to work, the auto basic combat. But basically, I know that I'm going to be able to use this specifically on some of those nodes that are like the symbiote nodes that typically time out, right? Where at the beginning of the match you kind of want to be on auto, and then at the very end of the match you're going to be able to toggle over to basic only. Because what I'm doing right now is I'll run on auto, then I'll take it off of auto, and then I'll be smashing the basic button for the last minute of the match, and this will basically do that for you.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I mean, I'm basic. I don't run as much on auto, but at the end, I'm sitting there basic, basic, basic. It'll be great. So I love that. I love this. This isn't also
Yeah.
hard to be mad about.
Yeah, and so the confusion is that this is going to be only available in the advanced tab. No, to enable the feature to be an option, you just have to turn it on once, and then it'll be there in the default menu, and you'll be able to toggle between auto combat and basic only combat. So they have this in Galaxy of Heroes. It's basically going to work the same way. It's going to be great. Character level, great. API features. Now, we didn't talk about this in your video, and I know a lot of people say, what do I care about this? I think there's two reasons why people should care about this, and one of it is mostly just for recruitment, right? So I don't know if that affects you or I, right?
Not
Recruitment.
as much at our level because we kind of know everybody at the top or whatever
Yeah,
the top account.
but I think alliance leaders really. So the idea here is that I'll be able to see what you have in your roster, which is going to be an important thing in this grand tournament road. We talked about the grand tournament
Right.
road mode, where you're basically going to need to know what your opponent has so you can plan a better strategy. And without API and without being able to see what your opponent's roster looks like, because right now, if I wanted to take a look at your roster, basically I have to go to your YouTube channel. I have no way of seeing your roster anywhere electronically, not on a third party website nor in game. And so API should allow for that. And there's a lot of benefits. I think it mostly benefits third party websites so that they can compile data on T4 selections and ISO 8 selections, and then they can say, here's the raw data, and then everybody can make decisions. So it's a good thing, right?
Oh, it's great. I mean, look, in Galaxy Heroes, you can see what the
Everything.
comps are in Arena. Like, you can see, like, okay, Arena, here's the people at rank 1 or whatever in Arena. Here's what they're running. I mean, in this game, it would be boring. We all know it's Infinity Watch or something, but that could be very useful data point. Or you can see all sorts of stuff. How long it's going to take you to farm up a particular
Right.
legendary or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to explain because in Galaxy of Heroes, the website swgoh.gg is night and day, a million times better than MSF.gg. The stuff in MSF.gg is just pretty much just like raw data that's static. And then when they get a new character, they add that. But at SWG, you're able to see real time data on everything, and it's just a fantastic tool. And this is going to be a good thing when they finally implement it. Costumes. Do you care about costumes? I don't care about costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like the newer costumes. Newer costumes seem to be getting better. I'm actually kind of excited about this. Now, I want to talk about this, but before I talk about this, I want to say 2022 is so far away, and then I also don't believe I have a lot of confidence that this is going to be implemented correctly, which is kind of sad.
Wait, you're telling me you think that they're going to screw something up and have it full of bugs? Shocking. Yeah, you don't have more faith in Scopal Boundle next or whatever they are.
Scopal next. In theory, I just want to share that yesterday in stream when I read this, I got excited. I was like giddy, like a little girl when I was reading this. And then the reality set in that this is really far away, and I don't know if they're going to do it right. And
Yeah, I
it's
expect
kind
they
of
won't.
sad. It's kind of sad. So I don't know how to present this to people. Like, this is a really good thing that'll be coming if it's done correctly. You play Galaxy of Heroes, and the short version of what this grand tournament is, it looks like it's going to be a clone copy. Of course, they're going to put their own spin on it of the Grand Arena system. And generally, Grand Arena is widely liked. It was my favorite game mode. Most people have very good things to say about Grand Arena in Galaxy of Heroes. What's your take on Grand Arena in Galaxy of Heroes?
Yeah, so I play it. I will say it's definitely, I would say, probably the most fun game mode in Galaxy Heroes. It's so fun that even though it gets the lowest rewards, or one of the lowest rewards of game modes there, people put way more energy
Yeah,
into it than other game modes. People stream more about that than any other
yeah,
game mode, create YouTube content.
yeah.
People plan their rosters around it because they just love the game mode so much. And that's the primary enjoyment they get out of the game. And it's very free to play friendly in Galaxy Heroes as well. It's like the best mode for
Yeah,
free to play players.
imagine this. The game mode actually in Galaxy of Heroes, the rewards are not that significant, but yet it is the most loved game mode. Imagine that people play it because they just like playing it. Imagine that. What a weird concept. Because like people say, "Oh, how much time is this going to take? Are the rewards going to be good?" Neither of those issues matter if the mode is fun. Does that make sense? Like, if it's fun, I mean, I'm sure you played Counter Strike to 6 in the morning in the past, or World of Warcraft to six.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, if it's fun, the amount of time won't matter. But this game mode right here in Galaxy of Heroes, what you say, 45 minutes a day, 30, 3 days a week, 45 minutes maybe.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, basically, you'll place your units on, let's say, defense, or or whatever, just like you would in Alliance War. Setting your defense,
Yeah.
and then you'll do your attacks, and you can do them anytime within a 24-hour period. So it's when you have the time to do it, which I think is really important.
I remember that, like, when I was hard pressed for time, I could bang this out in 20 to 30 minutes, 3 times a week, and it was a lot of fun. And if I wanted to stretch it out and be very meticulous about my placement and my strategies, I could put more time into that. But typically, you get to a place where you know what you want to set on defense, and after looking over their roster, you can make some small modifications, and it's actually like a chess match. It's a lot of fun. My favorite game mode. And I didn't find it to be time consuming. Not only did I not find it to be time consuming, I felt like the time was well spent.
Yeah, I agree. It showcases what is best about this game, which is you build up your roster, and then you can use, figuring out how best to use your roster and your characters and what situations and so forth. It's a lot of fun if they do it right. And of course, that's a big, like you said, it's a big caveat. This is going to be the most popular game mode, and it's probably going to encourage people to build up a lot of teams that, if you weren't that into war, you're going to potentially want to build up so you can use them in this game mode.
Yeah, it's in the simplest form. It's a single player 1 versus 1 war, but for some reason it's a lot more fun. I don't know what it is, and I kind of want to go on a weird tangent here that we didn't talk about in your video, but we talked about before the stream. Territory wars in Galaxy of Heroes versus Alliance wars here. I've played both, and I never found like territory wars in Galaxy Heroes to be that interesting. But for some reason, Alliance wars has always been very competitive and interesting. Is that because there's a vacuum, a void of other things to do here, or is it an actual better game mode?
Alliance War it's interesting. Alliance War is a more fun game mode.
Yeah.
You said when you have enough fun, the time doesn't matter. So Alliance War here sucks up way too much time
Yeah.
if you really get into it. But it's very, very fun because it's like, okay, let's work together to get the armory down, right? And you're sitting there trying to like plot it out, because every room is gonna, you're gonna, is one player, and so each room's gonna have different teams in it. In Galaxy Heroes, every room is essentially the same. There's no room bonuses.
Yeah.
And then every player can place whatever teams in any room. So basically, you'll just have one room of Sinister Six, one room of Black Order.
You're just seeing all you're looking at your opponent, and you have a whole room full of the exact same team because they coordinated it that way. So there's not a lot to it. It just never really moved me, to be honest with you. The Alliance War, and maybe that's just my take. But Alliance War and Marvel Strike Force is interesting for some reason, that in ways that it wasn't in Galaxy of Heroes. but yet I hate the system being time-based versus efficiency. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wait. I have. Yeah, I don't like waking up
Yeah, I
you don't
don't
want to
like
wake
it.
up in the middle of the night or early in the morning. You don't want to have to be on at certain times. Like, oh crap, I've got a war attack, but I'm actually out for dinner or out, doing something you need to do for work. So I just think Galaxy Heroes works better for a mobile game. But yeah, it's more fun the way that MSF does it.
So in conclusion, is Marvel Strike Force dying? Does the roadmap change anything? What's your take?
Well, look, the roadmap has some good things in it, things that you and I are excited about, Grand Tournament and Save Squad tabs and all that jazz. But look, it's gonna in the short run, it's not gonna do anything to stop the lack of, as you put a lack of momentum, downward slope of the game. MSF's not gonna die. I think it's gonna be around a long time.
Yeah.
But this is not its finest hour.
Yep, I'm in the exact same place. I'm cautiously optimistic. Boy, that's a fun word that they use in the stock market. I'm cautiously optimistic that this is going to be a good changes. A year from now, 2 years from now. But in the intermediate term, I don't see this going well. I think it's going to spiral still a little bit down more. I think that the forced engagement through RTA and now raids is tiring when people have other things to do. And I think COVID unwinding maybe. Is that people are going back to work, people are got things to do, and they get frustrated with some of this forced engagement that's been put in on us, and they're going to move on.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly had an impact on me. It's just harder to keep up with everything when you're out and about and have all sorts of stuff to do in your life.
Okay.
And now that COVID's over.
All right, head over to Philosopher's Channel. We have a different discussion on similar topics, but we get into more detail on some of them. Anything you want to say before we go?
Nope. Other than it's been a real pleasure. Check out OMG's channel all the time. I love mobile gamers content.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and keep on gaming. Okay, bye.